Did you know that organizations generate more data each year than in all previous decades combined? Yet, much of it remains underused for real decision-making. Today's session kicks off the next area of business data, our new series on SAP Business Data Cloud, or SAP BDC in short, where we will explore how to turn this growing data universe into trusted business-ready insights. Welcome to today's live expert session. We are thrilled to have you join us. I have the pleasure of having here with me KP Sauer, Senior Director, Data Warehousing at SAP. KP is an expert in the SAP product management team, focusing on SAP BDC and SAP DataSphere. He joined SAP in 2012 with positions in the Global HANA, COE, and Solution Management. KP is also an author of multiple books about SAP data warehousing solutions. And without further ado, over to you, KP.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for the introduction. So let me share my screen and we can get the session going. So today's session, as Tanya said, we're focusing around Business Data Cloud. And also, as you know, this is a full series of topics around Business Data Cloud. So it's not the only one. If we look at the overall planned session schedule, so there's a variety of different topics which are being tackled. I'm giving you the overview today, and then in the following weeks, we go into various more detailed topics, diving into BW Modernization next week, then in 2 weeks on the DataSphere side, Analytics Cloud, BDC Connect, and so on, right? So let's start with BDC and the overview today. So if we look at our overall portfolio at SAP, you see Business Data Cloud really being at the center. So it's at the heart of what we're doing. You see it's based or positioned on top of the business technology platform. A lot of the services from the BTP platform is what we are using also as part of Business Data Cloud. Then, of course, surrounding it with our Cloud ERP and our line of business solutions with the industry extensions, etc. And in the purple area surrounding it is the whole AI pieces with Joule and the various agents we're having or which will be developed at the moment. If you look at our vision, it also plays a central role. You know, our application for many, many years, they produce a lot of very valuable data, which we will bring together in Business Data Cloud, which will then in turn feed AI, which again can produce additional new outcomes, which might feed back into applications, into Business Data Cloud. So we get this kind of flywheel effect, what you have heard many people already talk about. So there, Business Data Cloud really plays a central role. So what are our guiding principles on our strategy around Business Data Cloud? So first and foremost, we really look at it as a very persona-centric driven development. So meaning we look at the different personas using various aspects of the platform and define the requirements accordingly so that the persona can get the job done, which is at hand. So it's very important for us. Secondly, if we're looking more on the technology side, it's based on a lakehouse architecture, so providing cost-efficient storage capabilities, scalable storage, but also compute for structured as well as unstructured data. So that is also an evolution of our existing technologies here. The next very core piece on Business Data Cloud is the topic of data products. I will go in a couple of minutes deeper into what we as SAP understand about about data products and what we mean by it, how we use it. So that is a very central piece. So we're talking then about really a data product economy, which is coming to life using Business Data Cloud. AI, of course, also plays a central role in combination also with analytics and planning applications. So that is really another core piece on what we're having. And we're not alone in this universe. So we have a strong open data ecosystem with partners which can be seamlessly integrated and connected with or into BDC, but we will see that in a minute. So if we look at a high level about Business Data Cloud, you see on the bottom, the applications I was already talking about. They generate the valuable data, which then goes into Business Data Cloud in the form of data products based on harmonized data model that is then connected to our Business Data Fabric layer, which then provides the data for consumption for various applications or use cases, right? Could be analytical or planning applications, could be your own application you develop basically, or for example, on a BTP CAP scenario. So very custom specific applications, extensions, maybe to other applications you have, might be in the future also partner applications. So the consumption of these data products provided by Business Data Cloud is very broad. And if you open up this Business Data Fabric layer, looking a little closer what's in there, you see some familiar names. So we're using here existing solutions we have. So for example, DataSphere for the semantics, Analytics Cloud for the reporting, analytics, and planning capabilities. Customers can also bring their existing business warehouse into such a landscape with Business Data Cloud to use it to modernize their landscape. So you see, this is really an evolution of our Business Data Fabric journey, which we started 2023 already with DataSphere and Analytics Cloud, and of course also all powered by HANA. But it's also bringing in additional components, additional capabilities with external capabilities. For example, you see here SAP Databricks or SAP Snowflake as new solution options as part of Business Data Cloud. So we started at the launch last year in February with Databricks. At TechEd in November last year, we announced also the partnership with Snowflake. So those capabilities can become available if you want to leverage them directly as part of our stack. And you can provision that via our Business Data Cloud setup capabilities in the SAP4Me portal. So for Databricks, that is already there. For Snowflake, we're currently working on it and testing it with first customers in a beta phase. So that will come very likely end of Q1 available as a solution extension then. And so there are also different or optional ways of connecting these existing systems you might already have. So many customers already have a Databricks in place or Snowflake, Google BigQuery or Microsoft Fabric implementation, right? And we don't want you to reinvent everything. You can connect these also. The offering I was talking about earlier, the embedded versions, more or less, they are more targeted for greenfield implementations, meaning if you or your company doesn't have a system of that from such a vendor, you can integrate it there if you already have it. So more for the brownfield use cases, you can use BDC Connect to also use the serial copy delta share mechanisms and integrate those systems with Business Data Cloud. So I mentioned at the launch event last year, we already provide Databricks as a solution. This Business Data Cloud Connect interface was launched in September with SAP Databricks as the first component, leveraging this kind of interface. So you see Snowflake here, as mentioned earlier. This is currently a work in progress. So we expect Snowflake via BDC Connect also in the first half this year, very likely beginning of Q2. The Microsoft Fabric piece, that was the last partnership we went into. By the way, I put press releases down here as links. So if you want to read it up, feel free to have a look there. So the Microsoft partnership, that was the last one coming in end of November at the Microsoft event. This was announced, and that's why it's also last in line, more or less, from these mentioned partners, and is planned to come in Q3 this year as part of the BDC Connect offering. So now let's have a look at data products. So what are data products? And if you look at the literature out there, you find different definitions depending on where you look. Also, various other vendors have adopted the concept of data products. In the meantime, we started with data products as part of DataSphere and the marketplace there already back in 2021. So we're quite familiar with the concept of it, and we are taking this now to the next level as part of Business Data Cloud. So what do we mean with data products as part of Business Data Cloud? So if you look at our definition, right, so it is a data set, of course, so it can be one or multiple tables joined together in a meaningful way, so semantically aligned. And of course, it has to be well described, meaning you have to have the metadata and the semantics in place which describe the data beyond the pure data itself. So beyond the pure columns and rows in which data is stored. So we define also as part of the data products various semantics. So for example, if certain measures might have currencies attached to it, because they are revenue or cost in a certain currency, or they might have hierarchies coming from our S4 solution for, I don't know, cost centers or general ledger accounts and the likes. So the metadata and the semantics, preserving that and reusing that as part of Business Data Cloud is very important. Then, of course, the third one, they have to be consumable, meaning they have to be accessible via an API, right? And the API we're using at the moment is Zero Copy Delta Share. So an API which comes originally from Databricks and which we are using here specifically also for the reason that you leave the data where it is and access it in a read-only mode. That's what the Zero Copy Delta Sharing means here in this sense. And in the future, we can think about different other APIs here. If you think about SQL or OData, other kind of public API possibilities. Last but not least, you see it needs to be discoverable, meaning people need to find it. They need to understand what it is about. That's where the cataloging solution comes into play, which provides that capability within Business Data Cloud. And if you ask yourself now, what are examples for such a data product? And I brought a few examples here with me. So it could be like general ledger data in form of a data product, or your cost center data, your inventory data, what is mentioned here, workforce data coming from SuccessFactors, or even third-party data products, which you can define yourself. If you want to bring in data you have elsewhere, and for example here, inflation data, interest data, or whatever other data you might have from also other systems, and create data products out of it. And yeah, that means we have the possibility to create custom-built data products, but we also provide data products delivered from SAP. So pre-configured based on the data models from the different source systems, like you see here with S/4HANA Private Cloud Edition, SuccessFactors, For these systems, we already have a bunch of data products available. There will be more coming, specifically in the area of spend and others this year, which we will provide. But I have an outlook also at the end where we go into a little more detail what we can expect this year for the platform to grow and what kind of innovation we have in store. So these out-of-the-box SAP managed data products, they come, as I said, pre-configured as part of intelligent applications in the BDC product and can be activated there. Similarly, you can define your own custom-owned data products, as I mentioned, with the few examples earlier. Might be external data from other systems you have, might be also coming from SAP systems, which are maybe not part of your BDC landscape for a variety of reasons. Could be that it might be older ECC systems, might be BW systems you don't want to have as part of Business Data Cloud or S/4HANA on-premise systems, etc. For those, you can create your own data products based on the same qualities, also using then at the end the bidirectional zero copy delta share mechanisms, and you can provide those in a similar way also to consuming applications. So if we look at these intelligent applications I was mentioning, so there are different pieces you will find in there. So of course, the data source and the data products, which is the core piece everything is based upon. Then you find, in addition to that, analytic models. So the semantical descriptions modeled in an analytical way. And on top, you find the intelligent application. At the moment, these are more low-code and no-code type of applications. So could be classical analytical dashboards, which we have delivered as one of the first intelligent applications with working capital, but also workforce planning as part of our people intelligent application, like research-driven applications with Just Ask and others. What we're planning is, of course, going beyond that. So because these are more analytically driven applications, and we want to go beyond that also in an area of pro-code applications where you could build, based on BTP, for example, your own CAP-based applications or more transactional applications. But it's not only for you to build that yourself. We will also bring intelligent applications with a more transactional character out as part of Business Data Cloud. And that the first ones you will see already this year, for sure. So what is the place where you manage all this? And this is the Business Data Cloud Cockpit. So that's really a central piece, mainly for your administrator at the moment, where you configure, manage the different components, where you can start and trigger the installation process of the different intelligent application or the different data products. So that's where you can also build your system landscape, which we call a formation. So we understand under such a landscape or formation a combination of, for example, your S/4 public cloud system, a DataSphere tenant, an SAC tenant, and that could be, for example, also different formations for your development, QA, production landscape, could be different formations for maybe different subsidiaries you might have, which might have their own systems, right? So you can think about these formations in different dimensions, and that is all managed in the SAP for Me portal, as well as the Business Data Cloud Cockpit. So if we look a little closer under the hood, how you can leverage these intelligent applications and how you install them and what happens behind the scenes. So if you go to the Business Data Cloud Cockpit, select one of the applications you are entitled to, you press the installation button, then a variety of processes gets kicked off. So if you go through the diagram from the bottom up, right? So the source system connection that was already set up as part of your formation. Then once you install the intelligent application, those data products which are part of this intelligent applications are being installed. Meaning in the foundation service, this is the object store layer. If you remember at the very beginning, I talked about the lakehouse architecture. So this is the object store part of this lakehouse architecture where the data product gets provisioned, right? So data integration process using replication flow technology coming from DataSphere. If some of you are familiar with this kind of technology piece, this is triggered to bring the data into the object store. Then maybe let me just get me a pen or a laser pointer here that you see where I am. So this is what's happening here. Then this data is exposed to the catalog. So that's what I mentioned as part of data product description. Very important because you need a place where you can make these available for further use. And this is the catalog within DataSphere as well as within the BDC Cockpit itself. So this is what's happened at the first step. Then in parallel, what's happening is those analytic models I was also talking about, right? And the respective views. So the whole data model, which is part of that data product and the intelligent application, is being implemented in DataSphere. So those are virtual structures, so no additional data copy happening here. And of course, on top, the different dashboards, stories, reports, which come with it as part of SAP Analytics Cloud, and which are part then of this intelligent application. That is all automatically installed. So some people always compare this with business content. This is correct to some extent. If you look at the business content traditionally coming in the BW area, but also the last 5-6 years, we delivered more and more business content with DataSphere as well as with Analytics Cloud. So these were models here on the DataSphere as well as on the Analytics Cloud side. But what you would have to take care about is still setting up the whole data integration piece to provide the data into these models as well as into the dashboards and reports on top of it. This comes automatically with Business Data Cloud. So the whole underpinning, if you like, and the whole data integration efforts, those are all included as part of our pre-delivered out-of-the-box data product. So that's a huge benefit in addition to it. Now, another question which always comes up, I mean, these standard models and stories, they are nice, but usually every customer has specifically defined their S4 system in a slightly different way. Set fields, additional enhancements, appends to various tables and processes, right? And you can adjust them here as well. So typically, like also with business content, you take a copy, you make those adjustments, and then this is using your additional fields which you have defined. And also those additional fields which you might have defined in your S4 system, if these are the regular appends on your tables, right? They already come with the data product. If it's like a real big modification of your S4 system where you build separate additional tables to it, then this will not automatically come because the system cannot be aware that you have built something additional, specifically customized or modified even in your source system. So to some extent, you automatically provide the extensions and appends, but yeah, we cannot recognize everything. That's where you might need to do some rework and enhancements. Okay, so much for the data products and the intelligent applications and what you find behind there. Then let's have a look at those partner integration pieces. So if we look at Databricks, and what that brings for the different AI and machine learning capabilities. We have a separate session, but I want to highlight here one point, and that is how we can exchange data between the different solutions. And what you see here on the little architecture diagram in the middle is we have an SAP Databricks, so one provisioned by SAP, and a Business Data Cloud system using a DataSphere system. And now you want to expose data from one to the other in the form of data products. And this is where the data catalog solution on both sides plays a vital role. So the catalog on DataSphere / Business Data Cloud, but also the Unity catalog on the Databricks side plays a vital role, because those catalogs are used to expose data products to the other side, right? So that's why you see also arrows pointing in both directions. We start maybe from a DataSphere scenario where you want to expose a data product to be used with SAP Databricks. You do that via the catalog. And then the zero copy data share interface is being enabled. And on the Databricks side, you can connect there and reuse the data without having to copy it additionally. And the same happens the other direction. So maybe your data scientists have created new data on the Databricks side, and you want to feed that back into Business Data Cloud, right? You use also the cataloging solution, and then again, in a similar way, the zero copy data share interface is being enabled for DataSphere or other pieces in Business Data Cloud to access that data. So that is very important to understand, and that's how this is working. Another important piece is for our existing installed base of customers using SAP BW or BW for HANA, is that you can bring an existing BW system, so it can be BW 7.5 or BW for HANA with the various versions. You can bring that into a Business Data Cloud landscape and leverage that as part of the overall solution, right? So you bring that in, so it's more a lift and shift approach instead of a migration into a new software. You take your existing one and bring the system into a private cloud environment. So then it's your existing system and you can reuse it there. The benefit which you get on top of that, it's part of the landscape, is that we provide a capability which we call the data product generator in BW, which allows you to create custom data products. So that gray area I was talking on the data product slide earlier, through from your BW models and based on the BW data you have, and make that available as a data product into the object store of DataSphere, and then reuse it from there within Business Data Cloud. So also using other open data ecosystem connectivities or third-party connectors with DataSphere, mixing it up with additional data and creating data products on top of it, right? So that is all possible. But also here, as you saw the schedule of the whole series, there will be another dedicated session next week from Sandy, from our colleague Sandy. She will go into specifics on this whole BW modernization area, and definitely will highlight the data product generator and the different capabilities you will get using this kind of component. Okay, so now you got a short overview on Business Data Cloud and the different capabilities. And now let's also have an outlook on what we can expect this year from Business Data Cloud. And we have a really packed backlog for the whole year in the different areas. So we will look at the different areas of innovation of what we're planning to do. And the first area is, of course, intelligent applications and data products, because that's the heart and soul of Business Data Cloud, right? So you will find for a lot of intelligent a lot of new intelligent applications, including then new data products, additional data products in a variety of areas. So we started at the launch with an intelligent application in the finance area. There will be additional applications coming in that area, but also in other areas of ERP. We already have also a people intelligence application from SuccessFactors. That's not the only one. There will be additional data products and intelligent applications coming there. New applications in the area of sustainability, but also spend with Ariba, customer experience, supply chain, etc. So this ecosystem of data products that will really grow dramatically this year, and so all the line of business solutions, all the application areas within SAP, they are currently working on that, and they will come one by one as will become available this year. Another big topic we're currently working on, and I have a few more slides specifically on this topic, is the Data Product Studio. And in addition, another very important one, since I already talked about customizations of intelligent applications or data products, we will provide later in the year a deep copy function for intelligent applications, meaning all the different artifacts which come as part of the application can be then copied in different spaces, in different areas to be adjusted. And that is also a bigger undertaking we have on our list for this year. You see it's currently planned for Q3. And so that is what we're planning here in this area. But let's have a quick look at the Data Product Studio. And this is a mock-up what you're seeing here of the Data Product Studio, where you can define data products, where you can manage and adjust the life cycle of data products within Business Data Cloud. And that is then true for custom-built data products, but also our own colleagues will use the very same tooling to create SAP managed and delivered data products. And so this is a nice screen cam here, what you see. But overall, our plan for the Data Product Studio is really providing that central component to define data products. No matter who defines a data product, they should be all using this Data Product Studio, that they are all built alike with the metadata, with the qualities I was talking earlier. So it will be embedded into the Business Data Cloud Cockpit. We basically build the design time artifact of a data product. So we specifically don't want to bound it to a specific runtime, because theoretically you could reuse the data product in different runtimes, right? And so we want to have it agnostic of a specific runtime, and that's by definition, if you like. So you define the design time there. You can also control the sharing capabilities, of course, right? So it's not only a security aspect, but you also want to define domain ownership, maybe with data products or groups of data products, etc. Right? So that area of governance is very important. And then, of course, we want to provide also different toolings, not just low-code tooling, as I mentioned earlier with the data product definition. What you see at the moment is rather low-code, but we also enable in the future pro-code kind of use cases where you can go beyond the typical analytical use case into more transactional application-driven use cases. So the Data Product Studio then will be there, as mentioned, for the configuration of data products, meaning you can customize also the SAP managed one by, for example, adding own sources on top of it, right? Extending them with additional entities, etc., right? But leverage the same interfaces and metadata structures and definitions which are there. Building custom data products, of course, right? So that will be a very strong point here. So we will also connect that data product generator, which is based in the ABAP stack of your BW system, what I was talking about earlier, and which we will cover next week with Sandy's session. Once the Data Product Studio is there, it will also have a tight integration with the Data Product Generator on the ABAP stack here. You will also be able to connect and harmonize data across different sources, right? And then share them again via zero copy delta share and maybe other APIs in the future with an open data ecosystem, but also, of course, within Business Data Cloud. And last but not least, managing them, meaning the whole governance aspect, what I was talking about. We are working on versioning concept there, that you can really create stable versions. Stable versions meaning that only compatible changes are possible. What is a compatible change? If you think about a bunch of tables, right? And then if you add additional columns to it, maybe an additional attribute or additional measure or something like that, this is a compatible change. But if you, for example, would take out or delete various columns, right, which might be used in calculations or something like that, this is an incompatible change. This would break models which build on top of it, right? So providing that kind of stable product versions is very vital for everything which depends on these data products in other downstream processes or systems. So that kind of versioning is important, and which we want to embed there. And of course, each data product will have a life cycle, of itself. So the data product itself will have a life cycle capability for not only versioning, but also then you can define like draft versions, which you test with a bunch of people, production versions in a variety of things, and then at some point you might retire it or want to replace it with something else. So this is all part of these life cycle discussions, what we're currently defining, and what you will see as part of the Data Product Studio in the future. Good. Coming back to those focus areas for innovation, we talked about the first one now with the intelligent applications and data products, and Data Product Studio is one part of it. The second one here is, of course, enterprise readiness. And it's always similar with products coming to the market, quite new. Data enterprise readiness topics are always on top of our list. So it starts with expanding the data center coverage, of course. If you look at the launch at Sapphire last year in May, when we went general available with Business Data Cloud, we had 2 data centers provided, EU10 on AWS in Europe and US10 on AWS also in the United States. That grew to 16 data centers last year already. So we have 8 regional data centers on AWS, 5 on Azure, and 3 on Google. So you see we covered already the big 3 hyperscalers with a variety of data centers. We will not stop there. We plan around 25, maybe 30 additional data centers this year in 2026. So we will expand it dramatically in that dimension. So that, you get really choice, not only for hyperscalers, but also for different regions of these hyperscalers. So that will, and those are already mentioned on the SAP, on the public roadmap. So if you want to have a look, which exactly, because you might wait for one or the other data center here, feel free to look at the roadmap. They are already published there for the relevant quarters when they are planned to be delivered. Second point here, of course, also observability monitoring. There will be a lot coming in the first half of this year, but also going beyond, expanding that area. Then another point we hear from multiple customers here is better and broader connectivity for BDC to support more non-SAP sources. You will also see a big push in that area. Then if we look in the other components like BW Modernization, right? So the data product generator was delivered already last year in May. It already got a bunch of enhancements in January this year, but we will further work on making life easier, providing more support, more help, more automation to our BW community, leveraging the data product generator here with a variety of additional features. I think Sandy will go into that deeper next week. As mentioned before, we will integrate it also with the Data Product Studio once the studio is being published. Then we will provide a query template generator and a flattening operator. So the last one, the flattening, that is important if you want to use complex multidimensional data models from BW in use cases for machine learning, AI. So for systems like Databricks or others, they usually need huge flattened structures, right? And that's where this is intended to be used with. And so these things will be provided or are planned for this year. If we look at the DataSphere side, also there a bunch of enhancements. I kept the list very small, the roadmap is long, but enhancements on the analytic model, so on the semantic modeling piece, not only with cross-space sharing, which will very likely come out in the next couple of weeks, multi-fact modeling, display attributes. We will enhance the cataloging capability with additional crawling sources, meaning you will be able in the future also to crawl and integrate the data and metadata from HANA Cloud, S/4HANA systems, but also older ECC systems. Those are planned for Q2 this year. Then, of course, the whole operations monitoring area is always a big one to be enhanced. So task chain operations. We just published a REST API and these success and error reports are also just delivered last week. So these are new ones which we're having. The output and input parameters still on the list. That's planned for later this year. And a generic REST API connectivity for sources in replication flows. That's also one of the top features requested by our customers. That's planned for Q2 this year. The whole AI area, also a big investment area for us with BDC. Joule will play a role in a variety of areas, not just DataSphere, where we're currently still running an early adopter program for a couple of months right now. SAP Analytics Cloud will bring Joule as a capability. Knowledge graph will be embedded in the various areas of BDC. Agentic workflows is a core piece, as well as the AI core integration with BDC, which is planned for Q2. Partner ecosystem, I mentioned at the beginning, BDC Connect and the different plans we have there. The Snowflake solution extension is planned for Q2, very likely. And Databricks, so we have that already 1 year available. We're planning different enhancements there on the Databricks part. And then, of course, we have a huge industry on the data and analytics area. I hope, and we're in discussion with multiple other partners in addition to that. So maybe you will hear the one or other announcement this year with extended partnerships with new, expanding really our open data ecosystem here. And of course, later in the year, we also want to bring a capability for partners to define partner-defined and managed data products as part of the overall stack. Last but not least, planning and analytics, also very central part of Business Data Cloud, right? We will see various innovations expanding our seamless planning functionalities with conversational planning and other agentic AI tooling being enabled. Integrated business planning will get an integration with Business Data Cloud in the second quarter. And of course, SAC itself has a huge roadmap in itself with just mentioning 2 things here with composable BI enhancements, but also features on asymmetric reporting, which is quite nice and useful. So having that said, so I think we have some time left for Q&A. So let me sum it up everything before we go into the Q&A part. So key takeaways is for you that really the data products and the whole setup here of Business Data Cloud is based on data products which help you to enable and leverage the intelligent applications. That is our strategic direction with Business Data Cloud. We want you to preserve your existing investments, which you have made maybe with DataSphere, Analytics Cloud, BW. You can bring in those existing systems, right? Not just BW. If you have investments in DataSphere or Analytics Cloud, we offer a process what we call rewiring, so you can bring your DataSphere and SAP Analytics Cloud system, if they sit in the same data center region with the same hyperscaler as your BDC system, you can bring those with you and preserve your investment, avoiding migrations. And of course, you can also then leverage our data ecosystem with the partners, what I mentioned with Databricks, Google, Snowflake, Microsoft, and the likes, using BDC Connect or directly integrated with BDC. If you're interested for further information, I put some QR codes. Many more places to find information, but these are very important ones, which also link to a variety of other repositories where you find information. And with that, Tanya, Marlin, I think we can have a look at some questions which might have come in.
We definitely have a lot of questions, but first of all, thank you so much for your excellent presentation. Providing this holistic overview is very important. So let me come to the question. First of all, let me tell to the people who joined, I'm not sure we will manage to answer all questions due to time constraints. But if we don't manage to answer your question, we will answer them in the comments area underneath this video. So let us start. Here we go. A lot of questions. So are you referring to SAP Snowflake as an extension against SAP Databricks? How are they different?
Good question. Yeah. So we delivered SAP Databricks as part of the overall stack when we launched Business Data Cloud in May, meaning at the setup time, you can put some of the capacity units which you purchase for the overall stack, and you can put them into SAP Databricks and provision that system. With SAP Snowflake, it's slightly different. It will get a separate material code on the SAP price list, meaning you purchase that separately, and then it's part of the Business Data Cloud landscape, right? So it's slightly different commercially, but in that way of how you integrate it, it's very similar, right? And it's also an SAP paper. That's why you have the SAP in front of the product or the partner name, SAP Databricks or SAP Snowflake, right? Those are, and as I mentioned, it's not there today. Very likely end of Q2, beginning of end of Q1, beginning of Q2 is the plan to deliver that.
Great, thank you. Are they all leveraging the Delta Share protocol, or is it just with Databricks?
No, also with Snowflake, they are also leveraging the same protocol. So we had discussions at the beginning, but Snowflake said they will support this, which makes it easier on our side. We just need to support that one interface for everyone, right? And don't have specific interfaces for each and every additional vendor, since the last couple of years, this became more or less an industry standard also, right? So we want to use that and don't provide individual integrations with each and every vendor.
Thank you. How is a data product different from a standard CDS view that is available in S4?
Good question. So the CDS view just provides an interface to the data, right? So the data product integrates with the CDS view or multiple CDS views behind the scenes, and then brings the whole variety of content which you saw on top in my graphics, right? So it will, the data product will get loaded in the object store. You will have the different models in DataSphere. You will have that connection to the catalog. You will have the reports or dashboards in SAP Analytics Cloud. So it's a lot more than just the CDS view, which you currently have in your S4 system.
Perfect. Thank you. Are these data products available for any BDC client running S4HANA, or are they an add-on purchase?
Yeah, so in general, it's available for all BDC clients. You need to have an entitlement though, and that comes depending on where these data products come from. So let's give you an example. If it's finance-related data products, they usually come with a package as part of your ERP finance solution, right? If it's SuccessFactors-related data products, they come as part of SuccessFactors packages, right? So this is how it's like clustered or grouped, if you like. And depending on where your entitlements are, you can have access to them, or you probably need to acquire an entitlement for those if you want to use it.
Thank you very much. Perhaps you want to unshare, then we are more visible instead of only very small.
Okay, all good.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question is, do you have any sample data products delivered by SAP to start with, or demo data products?
There are trial systems available, right? So you can get a trial access. Maybe we can share a link later in the chat also. So there are trial accesses available, which you can get and have a first look, get an impression of how everything works. There is some guidance there. There are some like training scripts with tasks, etc., available on the GitHub as part of it. So where you can get your first steps, get your hands dirty a little get to know the system, and play around.
Thank you. Can SAP data products be used inside a custom graphical view in DataSphere layer of BDC?
You can consume that, yes. It's not like you can directly integrate it. So the way it's currently delivered, these SAP managed data products, is that on top of it, we built views and analytic models. So they are reusing the structures which comes pre-delivered from SAP, for example. And it's similar for custom built data products.
Great, thank you. Not sure we have the time now. Maybe we can then share more information in the comments area. The question is, can you please provide more information on how to bring data models built on HANA to BDC?
Oh, that's a good one, because we will bring out a feature very soon, which will be placed in DataSphere, and an existing capability there, which we call semantic onboarding. So semantic onboarding is already there for BW data models, for S4 data models, and soon will be extended by HANA Cloud data models. And then you can reuse that kind of semantics and the data model which you've built in HANA Cloud, also then in combination with DataSphere or, of course, Business Data Cloud. So I'm not exactly sure which, I guess it's the first half of this year where it's planned. Not sure which quarter exactly, but it's on the roadmap. If you want to check it out, I saw it a couple of weeks ago. It's there.
Great, thank you. Can I directly connect BDC Databricks on AWS to my standalone Databricks Azure with zero copy delta share from standalone Database X to BDC database environment, or do both need to be on the same hyperscaler?
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's tackle the different parts of it one by one. So one, if you want to connect your existing, so a brownfield scenario, existing Databricks system to BDC, you need BDC Connect, right? That's the interface I was talking about, which we also enable in the future for Snowflake, Google BigQuery, and Microsoft Fabric. So that kind of integration is there, and that also works cross hyperscalers.
Okay, great. So the next one. Can we create data products on BW on-prem version, or should this be on BW PCE?
This comes with BW PCE, yeah. But I'm sure if you join in next week, Sandy will go into more details there. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So how is the authorization managed when users access data from Databricks using zero copy?
So if that data is exposed to BDC via the catalog, then you manage the authorizations within Business Data Cloud and the respective solutions, meaning either DataSphere, SAP Analytics Cloud, wherever those users need access to that data, that's where you can configure the authorizations, right? Who needs to see what, to what level of detail, etc. That is managed there.
Great, thank you. What about business content and DS in the DataSphere? Will you also continue to enrich it? Okay, but actually you might want to join KP on February 19 for this one. Or KP, do you want to answer it now quickly?
It was about business content. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Enrich it.
Yeah. Yes. So business content, yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, we delivered it over the past couple of years already, and it's also enhanced. So every quarter there is a release. On the one hand side, updates to existing models because the technology evolves and the content will adopt that those new capabilities over time. And also the one or the other new package is also being delivered. So if I look at our internal planning, so there are additional content packages planned and also enhancements. So if you will, maintenance on the existing packages is happening. Yes.
Thank you. Is the schematic relationship maintained when we access the data from external Databricks system using zero copy, or do we need to again create the associations of master and transaction data?
From Databricks, I think that needs to be recreated on the SAP side. We can preserve it from the source system through the different layers. And I believe from the Databricks side, I think we're currently working with Databricks together to get that also in there to preserve as much of the logic there. But if you look at it currently, I think what's exposed from the Databricks side is more or less the different columns and fields and data types and these kind of things. So more the technical layer with that direction, right?
Thank you. How is the procedure of lifecycle management with data products in BDC, usually in S4 or BW? And I must admit, with would develop and transport it into production, does it apply also to BDC?
Yeah, I think there's few things are being mixed up, I guess, in the question. So the SAP managed data products, they are managed and delivered by SAP. So our line of business colleagues, the ones who work on SAP ERP Finance or SuccessFactors, etc., they develop and maintain and also have the life cycle of the different data products. So there's a versioning concept behind it. And then once there's a new version available, it shows up in your Business Data Cloud cockpit, and you can decide if you want to apply the new version. So it only applies compatible changes. I think I was briefly talking about compatibility in these changes earlier on. So that is what's happening from the managed data products. Once the data product studio is ready, this functionality will become available also there, that you, for your custom built data products, can manage the life cycle of these data products on your own, using versioning and the different governance mechanisms, etc. So that will be the central part where this will be managed.
Great, thank you. I think this is our last question. It will be then on top of the hour. How will SAP BDC's governance features evolve in 2026 to handle data privacy regulations like GDPR or emerging AI ethics standards, especially in the multi-cloud environment?
Yes, very important, and we're working on that. Also for DPP, so the privacy regulations, etc. So that is all currently work in progress. I'm sure in the first half we will have a first delivery on these topics. So that is also very important for us. I haven't had it on my roadmap slides, I have to admit, and you probably need to add that point.
Perfect, thank you. So we are on top of the hour. Once again, KP, a big thanks to your excellent presentation and for answering all the questions. And a very big thanks to all attendees for joining us here today. I hope you got a lot of value from joining us here. And with this, I wish you a great evening, a great day, depending on where you are.
Thanks, bye-bye.